Good afternoon once again. Welcome back to the afternoon session of two-day faculty development program on intelligent computing technologies. We are delighted to continue with another enriching technical session. It is my privilege to introduce our resource person for today, Mr. Shihabudheen P.K. Mr. Shihabudheen P.K. is an education innovator, entrepreneur, and AI first learning advocate. He is dedicated to transforming education through emerging technologies and AI-driven educational practices. His work emphasizes creativity, critical thinking, innovation, and preparing learners for the future. Today's session is titled Bridging Industry Academia Gap. On behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, CIMAT, I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Shihabudheen P.K. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to Sripati Engineering College and the Computer Science Department for inviting me for this event. And thanks to each and everyone who has joined to listen to the session. We know that we are actually living in a world which is very different from what we have experienced maybe some 3 or 5 years ago. And each and every day, the development is progressing in a faster pace. So I will share my presentation. Okay. So, can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am? Okay, fine, great. Okay. So each and every day we are witnessing this change. That is happening around us. And each and every day we hear from different corners of the world that there is a huge difference between the expectation of the academia, expectation of the industry, and the kind of products that comes out from academia. So today we will be discussing about what actually causes this kind of gap and what solutions can be done to fix this. So whenever we used to actually hear this from from the very starting of the academy itself, because when I was in engineering college in 2006, from 2002 to 2006, I used to hear that there is a huge gap between industry and academia. So we used to get some kind of trainings. We used to go for some kind of finishing school models or some kind of courses to fix that. So that was actually sufficient for that time. Maybe some people who were maybe a decade ago when they completed their engineering or when they were doing their professional courses or some other courses or their UG or PG, they might also have heard the same. But at that time also, we had time to fix it. But the problem with artificial intelligence era or the generative AI era is that we don't have time to fix it. Because whatever used to take around 20-25 years to change, that same change is happening within 3 to 6 months time. And the time frame is coming slowly coming down. And the changes are also very huge. Because previously when we invented, during the invention of the computers, or maybe prior to that when there was electricity getting invented, this was not the case. During the early industrial age, for which the present education is designed for, we didn't have this issue because we had time, because we got around 25 years to prepare the candidates for that particular industry. But right now, with the artificial intelligence era, we don't have that time frame to fix the issues. So we are actually facing a great dilemma on how to fix it, right? But comparing to the industrial age or comparing to the previous decades, it's very easy to fix also. The problem is complex, but the solution is much more easier. So that's where we have relevance to this topic. So please give me a thumbs up if you are ready to listen to me for the next 1 hour or so. Please give me a thumbs up or something like a virtual hand raise so that we can just proceed to the next slides. So people have a concern. So when we are discussing about generative artificial intelligence and the developments happening, people always have a concern about generative AI because I am a computer science engineer. I'm a computer science engineer with 17 years of experience. Right now, I am not even writing a single line of code. Even if I want to, I can't. Because if I am going to sit and develop something by writing from by developing that application from scratch, that is not going to work. Because I can't develop the product. I won't be able to develop even the prototype within the time frame that where another competitor will come in. So I need to take the help of AI and generative AI for this. Right. So I am right now. I am not using any. I am not using any of the programming languages I learned or I have experience in. I'm just using the generative AI prompting methodology to develop an application. This is not the case only with me. This is the case with Google too. Because there was a recent study wherein Google told that they are generating 80% of their code. 80%. The number is, you need to actually note the number. They are generating 80% of their code using generative AI technologies which they have in-house and which they have even published to the which they have even given access to the public. Right. So they may have highly sophisticated tool or highly advanced tools than the tools that we use like Gemini or Claude or something like that. But they are actually building a system wherein the system itself is building applications for them. The same is true with Anthropic Claude, who is developing the Claude type of application, who recently released one model which was actually banned by US government because they have a great concern. The concern of losing job, that is one part. Another part is it is going to break all the systems which are there right now on the internet. So that is the concern. That's why they blocked it. Right, because the concern was actually raised by the engineers from Amazon to stop the Fable model from getting released to the public. So those kind of things are happening in the industry. And people are really alarmed where people are thinking like they will lose their jobs. Believe me, nobody is going to lose anything. People are going to get more and more opportunities. The only thing is that we'll have to make the new generation ready to accept this kind of changes that are happening and ready to change along with the changing world. So there lies the big gap. There lies the huge gap of industry academia collaboration. So that's the point that we will be discussing today. So Gen AI is going to unlock a lot of opportunities which we haven't seen in the prior years. We haven't experienced in the human era taken together. We haven't experienced such a thing in our life. This is not just happening in the computer science field. This is going to hit the financial areas. This is going to hit the entrepreneurial ecosystem. This is going to hit agricultural ecosystem. This is going to hit everywhere. There is no escape for a civil engineer or there is no escape for a mechanical engineer. He or she can't say that I won't be affected by these AI technologies. Because when such a change is happening, it is actually affecting each and every area of human life. It is here. Believe me, technology is here to ease our life. Technology is not here to seize some opportunities that human beings have. Technology is here to ease our life and give us new opportunities because humanity should go to the next level. Industrial age took humanity to another level. Invention of electricity took humanity to the next level. Invention of computers took scaled up humanity to another level. Now it is the time of generative AI. So we may feel that right now, we may feel that it is seizing the opportunities, actually taking away the opportunities that we have. That is not the case. It is building some opportunities for creative people. Please listen to me. The keyword creativity is so important. So if you want to actually fix the industry academia gap, you will have to build creative minds from colleges and schools. That is not happening. That is one issue, one big issue. So we need to understand that if you need some people who can survive or who can excel in this Gen AI era or the next technology era, they need to be so creative. They need to know how to handle these kind of tools. So we have many problems that are happening in the academy, which we can easily fix. As I told you earlier, this kind of things are things can be fixed so easily than we even think of. Because people are always thinking in a complex way. That is not required. Think in a simple way. You will find solutions. So that's what we are going to unveil in our next slides. So we will discuss about, because these problems are clearly known to each and everyone in the academia, right? And even by our bureaucrats, they also know the problem. Even politicians, they know the problem. Everyone knows what is the problem, but nobody is coming up with the solutions to fix it. They're actually patching. They are actually putting up some kind of bug fixes or some kind of patching in this kind of things, but that is not going to work. We actually need a real solution, because we got this alarm. We got this alarm during the last years of transformation in industrial age. We got the same alarm when we were actually experienced the computing age, the age of computation, or the age of softwares, or the age of SaaS, software as a service products. But we didn't actually listen to that. We were busy fixing some kind of minor bugs. We were busy adding something to the educational system without fixing the actual problem. So that was there. So right now, we should actually think about a new type of fix. We should actually think about a fix that will work for the generations to come. Because if we are actually fixing something, it should stay, it should actually help the generations to come. It should not be something that just stays for the next 5 years and just fix something on top of maybe we can call it as whitewashing. It should not be something like a whitewashing. It should be a foundational change. That foundational change will lead to something that is something innovative, and that is something creative, and that will help the generations to come. The main problem actually causing the industry academia gap is the curriculum changes slower than technology. As we discussed earlier, we used to get time, because when during the invention of computers, the computers were accessible to only top-notch companies, top-notch corporates, and it was costlier. So we could get some time to prepare our students for that, because we already saw this change happening in USA, and we were able to change. We were able to teach our children or teach our new generation about this emerging technology which is happening in the US. And in the next 10 to 25 years, it will be experienced. We actually told our students that we will experience such a change in the next 20, 25 years in India. So we got the time to teach them. We got the time to train them. We got the time to place them. We got the time to actually make them work for another 20, 25 years. So that was possible. But with this technology, the pace of technology is moving so fast. So whatever changes used to happen take centuries, it's now taking only years. Whatever used to take around decades, it is now taking only months. Whatever used to take years, it now takes only hours to change. Right. But the curriculum is not catching up. So we have many excuses given by the academia world. We have many excuses. They're told that it's very difficult to implement all the changes that are happening in the academic sector. They always claim that in order to create some curriculum, or in order to modify a curriculum, we need a kind of meeting that need to happen for long 5 years or 10 years. And after all these discussions and debates, they need to create a textbook, and they need to actually print the textbook. So once a textbook is printed, it will take next 10 years for the publisher to be profitable from that, make profit from that. So if you are moving in a faster pace, it will actually hamper, it will actually cause a lot of loss to the industry, the publishing industry. This should not be the case. Actually, we should not depend on the publishing industry, or we should not depend on the traditional discussions and debates that used to happen on the curriculum path or the curriculum committee or something like that. We'll have to think it in a different way. So we always know that this kind of issues already there. This is one of the main issues that is actually causing the big industry academic gap, because we are busy teaching all those old things. So what happens is, like, whenever we add something new, what is happening? We are not actually freeing up. So when we go back to schools, we are busy teaching them a third language or a fourth language, but we don't think about making it easier for them for that first two languages which already exist. So this should not be the case. We should think about some areas wherein we can actually free the time of these students. Actually, that is one solution. We should actually make them free. We should actually make them think. We should actually make them explore. That is not happening. So we need to think about some ways wherein we can bridge this gap. It is so easy right now because in order to change a curriculum, actually the problem is that we have a framework, right? But always the frameworks have got a flexibility. People don't know what actually CBSE stands for, or people don't know what actually KTU, the Kerala Technology University, stands for. People actually don't know what a university actually stands for. People believe that CBSE is some organization or some body which give affiliation to schools from LKG to class 12, wherein CBSE itself called them Central Board of Secondary Education. They don't involve in the schooling matters unless until the child reaches the class of 8. They are just involved in secondary education. They are just involved in handling the exams in class 10 and class 12. And even they are struggling in that too. Believe me, there is a belief system which is already built by some academy or some institutions, wherein we believe that something is already set and we can't break that. Using the RTI Act, so Right to Education, RTE Act is there, the Right to Education Act is there. We have ample flexibility in that. We can look for more opportunities. We can go for online schooling. We can go for hybrid schooling. We can go for homeschooling. We can go for unschooling. There are a lot of opportunities inside the RTE Act. People are not thinking about that. People are always busy fixing the issues within the system, believing that the system is actually rigid. The same is the case with KTU, Kerala Technology University. It has got flexibility. It's not mandatory to complete your degree in 4 years. You can take startup vacations. You can get additional credit scores by involving in some other activities. Even you can take an exit after 2 years. You can get a diploma. You can go to some other university and do some kind of research. So this kind of things people are not taking care. Even the academia is not actually showing interest in actually encouraging their children to encouraging their students to do this, and even the learners are also not aware of that. So these changes, we need to actually think out of the box. Okay, so this is one issue. The curriculum changes slower than technology, and in this AI era, the gap is so huge, and the gap widens each and every second. Each and every second, the gap widens. And another part is theory-focused learning. We are busy teaching students the grammar. We are busy teaching them the multiplication tables. We are busy teaching them all the basics, which were all basics for the like maybe 20, 25 years ago. For the new era, the basics are different. The basic is whether you know how to code. The basic is whether you know how to handle technology. The basic is whether you know how to handle AI. In the same era, the colleges are busy teaching all the programming languages. They say that the foundation of programming is those programming languages. Believe me, there was an era of transforming from assembly languages to compilers, the programming language. We actually experienced, maybe our generation might not have experienced, but the people with maybe around 30, 40 years of experience in IT might have experienced this. At that time, what used to happen? People used to learn all these assembly languages. They used to, so during the transition period to the programming languages, they used to actually compile everything in programming language, and they used to even interpret the assembly language too. So this was a huge issue at that time because people believed that assembly language was the only language which will exist and the programming languages will not exist. The same is the case now. Because if you speak with an engineer, he or she will say that you will have to learn Python. You'll have to learn C, C++. That is the basic. Believe me, that is not the basic. Because the basic of the world have changed. So even now, we are actually trying to teach students theory, because once I was traveling in the Dubai metro. Once I went to for JTech's technology show, and I was traveling in Dubai metro. So what was happening was, like, there was a bunch of students who was actually preparing for an exam, because they had the textbooks in their hands, and they were discussing about because on that day, on that particular day, it was computer science paper, and they were discussing each other. One student asked the other student, this is one question: how will you insert an image inside a document? How will you insert an image in a Word file? So one student told that, the other student told that, just drag and drop, because that is a practicality, right? But the other student corrected her. The other student corrected her, saying that, no, you won't get marks for that. You won't get marks for that. You will get marks only if you open the file, open the doc, open the file, click insert, choose the file, and insert and press OK and save. But in practicality, what is happening? The other student was correct, but that is not accepted, because if it is a 5 marks question, the student who writes a drag and drop will not even score 1 mark. Right. So this theory-based education learning, theory-focused learning, is another issue which is causing huge industry academia gap. And this gap widens when it comes to the case of universities. We'll have to fix that. So people may ask, KTU or any other university is actually giving you some modules each and every semester. How can we come out of that? Because all these students will have to give these exams for these papers, right? But it's very easy. Believe me, if you are someone, because majority of you who are listening to me right now may be engineers, because you might have come through an engineering college. How many days do we learn for an exam? How many days? If you know the concept, it's just a matter of hours. If you know how to write an exam, it's just a matter of days, 1 or 2 days, right? So you have the flexibility. You have a semester. If you have a semester for 3 months or 4 months, we have the flexibility. So this is what everyone in academia should understand, because it is with us. It is we who need to change. It is we who need to actually implement, be advocates of these kind of changes. Because it's very easy, it's very simple, and we are going to actually help the next generation. Because this is a great help that we can do to the next generation. Right? Because if we are helping to fix this, we are also we are also saving our own time, and maybe we also get some kind of insights about our own careers. So this theory focused learning model should actually change. So we need to actually think about such a change too. And here is another part. When OpenAI and Claude was getting released in Silicon Valley, and people were actually using that, and people were really fascinated by the kind of technology that ChatGPT and Claude brought in. All right. And at the same time, China, who is another leader in artificial intelligence technologies, they actually competed. They came up with the DeepSeek, they came up with Kimi models, they came up with Alibaba's models, and many other frontier players from China also came in. So they were actually competing, because whatever OpenAI was doing with a huge amount of computing power, DeepSeek was able to do with 1/1000 time of computing power. So those kind of competition was actually happening. At the same time, in India, what got released? Some kind of courses. Some kind of courses got released. What course? Course to learn how to use ChatGPT. Course to learn how to learn AI tools. Course to learn how to create videos out of AI tools. I'm not just blaming the technology sector in India, but this is what really happened during the last 4 or 5 years. Maybe some companies, recently some companies are actually changing the game. Because some company called Sarvam AI is coming into picture. There was something called Kritrim AI, which Ola brought in, but nothing happened. Okay, so those kind of changes are getting discussed and happening. But believe me, the last 3 years, OpenAI went from a startup company to $1 trillion company. Anthropic went from a startup company to $1 trillion company. The same sector, we are actually struggling. We are actually busy building courses. We are actually busy teaching. So this should not happen, because human beings are natural learners. We learned how to crawl. We learned how to walk. We learned how to talk. Right? The same is true with learning too. But their learning has got a methodology. We should have a different methodology of learning, where the self-learning capabilities are actually fostered, and this kind of self-learning models are actually should be enhanced. The capabilities of self-learning has got a great say in this era of artificial intelligence, generative AI. So we need to think about that. The research. We need to actually ask our students to research and learn. Research and self-learn. These are the two keywords I would suggest for this particular age. Research and self-learning. Because this is already there within you. As human beings, you have these capabilities. You know how to research. Because as a child, we used to open up everything what we see. We used to actually unscrew everything that we get, right? But that curiosity faded somewhere else. That curiosity, we actually lost that curiosity at some point of time. We'll have to get it back. So we should think about a world order, or we should think about an academia sector wherein we stop teaching. So at Hashmicha School, we always say, stop teaching. Teaching is banned at Hashmicha School. So what happens? Co-learning and co-creation. The academy, the facilitators, the facilitators or the guides or the mentors, they learn together along with the new generation. So that is a biggest change that is required in academia, so that we can actually bridge the gap with industry. Because whatever change is happening, the new generation learns so fast. If you have a child at home, just observe them. They learn how to operate a smartphone on their own. They learn how to ride a bicycle on their own. If you give them opportunity without giving them any coaching, they will actually learn to swim also. Because in order to swim, in order to teach someone to swim, we need to send them to some school, right? So those kind of changes are actually required. So the more the teaching is getting involved, the learning doesn't happen. The learner actually stopped learning. So there should be a space wherein we can actually foster learning, so that we can actually create a new type of generation, a new type of skill set, or new type of talents who can actually survive, and who can actually not only survive, who can actually build something meaningful for the new world order. So this is very much important. So we need to understand that the more the teaching happens, the learning side actually declines. The less that you teach, the same is with advisors too. Because we always say that there is no meaning in advising the new generation. That was true for all across the human civilization, right? Because that was true. Because there is no point in advising someone who is actually really internally motivated. All right. So those kind of internal motivation should be the solution that we need to think about. So here, one thing that actually create the huge academia and industry divide is the teaching models, because the industry doesn't want teaching. Industry doesn't actually promote. Industry actually wants someone who is a self-learner. Industry wants to learn someone who changes with the changing time without going for a course. Right. So those kind of things are actually demanded by industry. Because tomorrow, if something is changing, they want the entire ecosystem to change. Because I'm speaking from the perspective of an entrepreneur. Because I know I actually demand my employees to be someone who can learn on their own, who can change on their own, who will be the advocates of change. Right. So there is a huge demand for self-learning, or there is a huge demand for change makers from the industry part. And another big problem that we are facing right now in the academy is the mark-focused assessments. Industry doesn't look for mark sheets. Industry don't look for mark sheets. They look for mark sheets only if they have a bulk. They have bulk of applicants who have applied for a particular sector. But if you are someone who is creating demand in the marketplace, they will ask you to keep the mark list away. And this can be actually built in each and every student. Because each and every student, each and every child is talented. They are talented in a different way. We need to understand that. So once we start thinking about this, once we actually analyze this kind of changes, we will be able to make a big change. So this mark focused assessments are one big thing that is causing an issue. Because right now, if you check the case of SpaceX, they recently hired a 14-year-old child in India, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology from USA. They actually gave scholarships to some students who haven't even cleared class 10. So those kind of statements or those kind of thought process wherein we believe that full A plus in class 10 and full A plus in class 12, or CGPA, in terms of CGPA, if you get 9 out of 10, you will get some good placement. That era has changed. So we need to actually understand that. So those kind of belief system which is there in the industry, we'll have to rethink. That's why I told you, we'll have to come out of the framework for this. We'll have to think out of the box. So then only the real change happens. So if you are in a system and if you believe that that system itself will make everything, the system itself will autocorrect everything, the system itself will be something that can be accessible by everyone and will assess the capabilities of everyone with a single benchmark. Believe me, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Because if you are trying to assess a child who is having a capability in sports with the same benchmark wherein we evaluate a student has capability for coding, that's not going to work. But we can have some kind of normalization methodologies, some kind of AI technologies which can come into play and assess the students for real skills. We do that at Hash Future School, because at Hash Future School, we believe that AI has got the potential to assess each and every child in a different way. Because the same way Facebook understands us, the same way YouTube understands us, the same way all the algorithms work, right? Because that systems already know, because they have got artificial intelligence technologies which already knows that each and every person can be assessed in a personalized manner. Each and every person can be given a topic on a personalized manner. That is simply possible. If it is possible with Facebook and YouTube and Instagram or any other social media tools or any other tools that we have right now, believe me, this is also possible, because we are actually assessing the students on 33 different skills: critical thinking, problem solving, leadership skills, communication skills, negotiation skills, and many other skills, 33 skills. So that is simply possible because we have the data in place. We just don't assess by marks. So we need to actually think about some kind of system wherein everybody can showcase their talents. So once that is there, everybody in your classroom will be smarter. Because right now the issues happening in colleges and schools are only because they consider only people who are toppers. Right. If you are someone who is studious, who by heart stuffs, who is very good in vomiting the same stuffs to an answer sheet, those people are considered to be legends. But believe me, that's not going to work. That even don't work in the present situation. All right. So we'll have to rethink. This is the main problem that is causing this industry academia gap, because we'll have to identify the problems before going to the solution. We'll have to admit that there is a problem and the problem is real. So in order to admit a problem, you need not go for a psychometric analysis. It is simple common sense. It is simple common sense. If something is not working in the real world, that will not work for a human being, right? Human beings are designed to actually live in a real world. So if something is not going to work in a real world, if programming is not there in the real world, believe me, that is not the foundation. Prompting is the new foundation. Maybe tomorrow, majority of these AI tools right now have this audio features. Aaron, you just speak. You don't even type. So in an era wherein you don't even type, you have the option to speak, or you have the option to upload an image or show hand gestures. That is the way the world works. We can't again tell that those basics needs to be fixed. Those basics, we believe were the basics of maybe 30 years or 40 years back. That should be fixed. That doesn't work, because the world is moving at a faster pace. The world which is moving in a faster pace actually need faster solution. Who is going to wait? Are you ready to wait? No, I'm not ready to wait. I'm not ready to wait for a change. The same is the case with the new generation also. They are not ready to wait because they know the world is moving in a faster pace. Because they need to catch up. We need to catch up. And believe me, if you are just struggling in that particular age, the same thought process of linear educational model, by completing all this degree, you will be landing up in a job, and you'll get to a career wherein you can easily survive for the next 30-40 years. Believe me, that is not true. Because the new generation, the new jobs will be like just giving you a career option for 2 to 3 years, not more than that. Any career, whether it be medical, whether it be engineering, whether it be art, whether it be finance, everywhere, the career span is going to be short. And every 2 to 3 years, you'll have to change not only job, not only titles, the entire skill set. The entire skill set and the entire career will have to change. Because I know, because it's very easy. Because I changed from one particular career aspect. Because I was in engineering, I was a computer science engineer. So I moved to education. So it's very easy. First, you should have the mindset. Next, you will have to explore. The next, you will have to self-learn. The next, you will have to network. The solutions are pretty easy. So the only thing is that you should have this kind of mindsets wherein you think out of the box. So thinking out of the box will actually fix this issue. And we are not able to adapt, right? Because we don't know tomorrow what sector it is going to affect. Last day, actually, I was attending a graduation ceremony in Bengaluru because one of my cousins was actually graduating from ESIC Medical College in Bengaluru. So there was a great lecture which was shared by one of the senior doctors. He told that getting an MBBS degree or getting an MD degree doesn't guarantee you a safer job or a safer life or a happy life or a safer career, because artificial intelligence is coming. Because artificial intelligence is taking up 80% of the role of a conventional doctor. So no career area is safe. Not safe in the sense because human beings were not designed. So I always say that it's not safe or not a comfort zone means human beings were not actually designed to do that particular job. So whenever a new technology is coming, for example, when washing machines came up or mixer grinders came up, before that, what used to happen? Our sisters or our mothers, they used to actually do it everything on their own. Now, who is going to do that with their hands involved in that? Nobody is going to do that. Same is the case with the jobs involved with our brain too, with our thinking too. Because human beings were not actually designed to do something that AI is doing right now, or AI can do or replace in next 2 years' time. We have something big to do. As human beings, we are really talented. We have got the great talent to change. We have got the right talent to adapt. And we have got the right talent to adapt and adopt and change. So that's the greater potential human beings have. Maybe today we might have gone to moon. Tomorrow we can go to Mars or Uranus or Pluto or maybe outside our solar system. Because we have got plenty of opportunities. Right? That's what Elon Musk says. He's actually planning for a Mars mission. So those kind of things are happening in the world where we are living in. So tomorrow when somebody who is actually passing out from Shihabudheen Engineering College, if they ask about a career, tell them that you have got a career option in Mars. I'm not joking. Not joking. That is the reality. Don't tell them to find a job in a software company nearby your home. Sit at the comfort of your home and enjoy the job for the next 40-45 years. That will be the biggest lie that we can say to a student who is in front of us, because this job is gone. Every engineering stream that we right now actually deal with has got the risk. But every engineering college right now we are dealing with has got the opportunities too. Tomorrow, a mechanical engineer is not just a mechanical engineer. he or she can actually learn computer science. He or he actually can actually what to do. They can actually prompt and create applications wherein they have an idea about. Last day, Jensen Huang, the chairman of Nvidia, who is building chips, he told one thing: this is going to be an era wherein a barber or a blue collar job holder can actually become a software engineer or build an application or become an entrepreneur or build a solutions for humanity. So everyone is going to do these kind of things, because previously these areas were something which are actually dedicated for someone who has a degree in that particular field. But at Ash Future School, what we are experiencing is that the same is happening with an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old. Right. So AI is actually redefining job roles, not jobs, roles. You will have to clearly understand the difference. Job roles, the job may exist, but in a different way. If you are an admin in an office, should be an admin who use AI tools. Should not be someone who is good in Excel. Because last day somebody was asking me, there was a manager from Mumbai. She actually wanted to learn Excel macros. So I told her not to learn Excel macros again. So she asked me, what is the solution? I gave her a session for half an hour and just told her that you use these AI tools. It will create the macros. It will execute the agents. It will execute the agents better than a macro. So those kind of learning is really key. So whenever a job role is actually redesigned, you'll have to prepare the new generation for that. You'll have to actually ask them to explore the changes that are happening in different domains and different sectors and change according to that. Okay. So this is another big issue, because whenever the academy is actually preparing someone for a particular job, in 4 years' time, what is going to happen? The entire industry might have changed. Right. There was a film wherein somebody who traveled outside his country, when he came back, when he reached the airport, the transit airport, he came to know that his country is no more. Right. Because this happened in the world where we live in. Somebody who just traveled outside his country, he came back when he was in transit. The entire country is gone. The same. So he's actually living in an airport. So there was some film based out of that story, right? So those kind of things are happening whenever we are preparing the children for a particular job. That job itself is not there. That industry is not there. That particular role is not no more. So we'll have to make them prepare for something which is flexible, something which is adaptable, somewhere where they can think about a change. Why people are committing suicide? Why someone who is like not getting an admission to an IIT is committing suicide? Only because they think they were taught in a such a way that their destiny is getting into an IIT. Their destiny is getting into an IIT after clearing class 12 with good marks and clearing JE. No, that is not the destiny. We should clearly communicate. We should be transparent in our communication. We should tell that clearing your class 10 examination with all A grades is not going to be a bigger milestone in your life. It's getting into an IIT is not a safer zone. Because once somebody who is getting to an IIT is actually struggling a lot in this era. Because I could see a lot of my friends who has been to IITs and IIMs. They are really struggling than somebody who went to a normal engineering college. So those kind of things, we should be transparent in our communication. And this is another thing, wherein everybody speak about uh, industry academia collaborations, but that's not happening. Because whenever it comes to the projects in academia, what happens? People always want something to be complex. The department heads or the department actually want complex projects, which has a lot of features. They themselves know that it is not possible by a student who is doing third year or fourth year of engineering is not able to do that. They demand such kind of projects which has got a lot of features. Maybe even if you can design an LLM, a large language model or a generative engine model which can actually surpass OpenAI and DeepSeek. If you actually provide such a synopsis, the departments will actually approve that. They themselves thought that this is not possible. But if it was creating just a simple website, that would have worked, because that has some potential, so that this particular student can learn and apply their knowledge and create that. So such a thing is happening. So we need to, in order to find out some projects wherein they can actually collaborate with in the academia, we need to find some kind of problems that the real industry is facing. But this is not happening because we are busy teaching, we are busy behind the exams, we are busy behind the granting awards, and we are busy behind convocation ceremonies. So what happens next? Nobody cares. So what happens next after the convocation? Nobody cares. So we need to actually think about a world order which is really outside our academia boundary. So that will solve the problem. Okay. So lack of industry integrated projects is another big problem, because because I got campus placement in Wipro and another company in 2006. So when I go to that company, I was not even capable to write a single line of code for that company, because it had some other standards. It had some other programming language, because they trained me for 3 months, spending a lot of money and time. And after that training only, I was able to program. The same is the case with every sector. So people always ask, industry always demands for experience. How will I get an experience without getting a job? So this is one question everyone asks. But in this era of AI, in this era of simulation, in this era of technology, that is not a problem which can't be solved. Can be solved, but we should have a different approach. Because when we are in something, when we are in academia, we should not be busy learning. We should not be busy teaching. We should not be busy behind the lab projects. We should not be busy behind the assignments. We should not be busy behind writing something and submitting. This is a new era. You'll have to think in that way. Wherever there is an artificial intelligence or a Gen AI tool, allow the students to use that. That is the way solutions should be built. It's not like somebody saying that if they are using Gen AI, they are not going to think. So what happened during the computer science, computer era? What happened? People who were actually writing something in the spreadsheets, they actually started using Excel. What happened? Nothing happened. Humanity went to the next level. So this is not going to actually destroy any of the capabilities that human beings have. Human beings have got the rare capability or rare ability to adapt to the changes that are happening and grow to the next level with the help of technology changes that are happening. So that is the reality. If we were busy washing our clothes, we were busy grinding all these kind of stuffs using our hand, if we were busy digging all those pits and all those foundations, we wouldn't have reached anywhere, right? We wouldn't have built all these skyscrapers. Right. So if you want to go to the next level, if you want to take humanity to the next level, you'll have to admit that the real world is changing. We should actually admit the reality. We should apply some common sense. So this is the way the solution can be built. But we should not be rigid on whatever we had in the past, and we will follow only that pathway. That is going to widen the industry academia gap, because the industry finds the ways. Industry finds a lot of ways to actually solve the problem. It is not mandatory whether it is solving using human beings or AI agents or technology or something, whatnot. Industry actually really wants the problems to get solved, because I'm using a lot of AI agents in my online school right now, because majority of the task will get done by an AI agent. And tomorrow I will develop more and more AI agents. So, but the human beings or the human resources, what they need to do, they're not actually losing their opportunity. They'll have to relearn, they'll have to unlearn, relearn, co-learn, collaborate, and move ahead of technology. Be the masters of technology. Be the masters of all the kind of changes that are happening in the real world. So this will bridge the industry academia gap. So we need to identify ways to solve this kind of issues which actually build industry academia gap. Now we have discussed about the problems. Hope everybody is here. Can you please give me a yes in the chat box if you are here, or else I'll just proceed. Okay, if you can give me yes. Thank you very much. Okay. Sorry for that. So now we discussed about the problem. So every problem has a solution, and the solution is so simple. Even if you have a financial issue, the solution is so simple. If you have a health issue, the solution is simple. If you have any other issues with your profession or with your family life, the solution is simple. The only problem is that we are making it complex because we were taught to think in a complex way. Because we were taught to think, right? It's and every day somebody comes into the classroom and tell that this year is going to be a tough year. The mathematics that we are going to teach this year is going to be the toughest one. The same message gets recorded in our brain, and we believe that life is tough. On the other side, if you have come to the classroom and told the children or students that this year is going to be easy, we can explore more and more things. We are not just making it easier and making them waste their time, but we will find new ways. We will find new ways wherein they can actually contribute. They can actually think about something in their something different in their free time. So that is what is happening in different parts of the world where innovation is happening. Even during the latest Iran, US and Israel conflict, you might have seen a lot of innovations from different countries which actually overrun. Today they signed a deal, right, which actually overpowered the machineries which cost millions and billions. So someone who thought in an innovative way built something innovative out of the situations, right? Because they thought in a different way. If everyone was designed to think in the same fashion, what would have happened? They will not. They will actually think about making millions. They will actually think about worry about how to get into the same stand of a superpower, same status of a superpower. So that is not the case. If you want the solution, first of all, believe that there is a solution. Then next, believe that the solution is simple. And the next one is to strategize. Making strategy means you'll have to think about that. Should get time to think. So this is very crucial, and that is not happening in academia. I'm not blaming anyone because we have busy calendar. We start a semester, in between there are holidays, there are art fairs, there are annual meets, and a lot of things are happening in between, strikes and a lot of stuffs. Even we have got flood also. Or even in between all these kind of things, we should find some time. We should find some free time, because somebody who actually think finds a solution, an easy solution. Because people who are lazy, we always say that, right? Because innovations are always done by people who are lazy. Because we actually innovated this education model only because I was lazy, because I don't want to spend my time teaching my children. So we started unschooling and we started this venture. So this was out of the necessity at our home. We actually wanted to make our life simple. So we don't wanted to make it complex. So this is the way everywhere, if you have a problem, you can find a solution. Easily you can find a solution. So in order to bridge the industry academia gap, we should actually redesign the education to be student-centered or a learner-centric mode. As I told you earlier, we need to actually stop teaching. Now to think about innovative ways wherein somebody can be a learner. The same motivation, if they are actually really motivated in building something, believe me, they will learn all the basics of mathematics. They will learn all the basics of physics. They will clear all the papers because they know the concept, because they are not just memorizing facts, because it's in their same same area because they are really interested in that, right? If somebody is interested, they will learn any language. Somebody is interested, because I know a lot of youngsters in Kerala, they know Japanese, Korean and all, because they are really interested in watching Korean animes or Japanese animes and Korean web series. Right. So people actually learned Korean and Japanese. So out of necessity, out of interest, the learning will happen. No problems will happen. No problem will arise. Apple was actually designed because Steve Jobs actually got enrolled into Stanford, but he was not really interested in the class he was enrolled. He got an opportunity to get out of that class and sit in the calligraphy classes. So once he started learning calligraphy in his free time, or maybe the time he bunked his classes, he was actually able to think about a new design model, wherein he was able to design computers, personal computers in a different way. He was able to design phones in a different way, smartphones in a different way. So that is the kind of solution we need to bring. We'll have to bring a model wherein there is a learner-centric education. Education should not be teacher-centric. When the learner is ready, the teacher appears. It's not the other way. When the teacher appears in the classroom, what is happening right now? When the teacher appears in the classroom, all the learners should be ready. No, it's the other way. The real learning happens when the learner is ready. Maybe some may take 5 years. Some may do it in 1 month. Some may take 5 years. Some may take 10 years. But this is when the real learner is ready, the teacher appears. And right now with AI, that is simply possible because it happens in a button click or just in a voice command. If you give a voice command, call Hey Gemini or Google, Hey Cloud, just do it for me. If I need to build an application, I can just call Gemini and ask it to develop an application. It will start building the application. All right. So I'm not able to just even imagine what is going to happen maybe after 1 year. Right now, with my voice command, it is developing an application. So I developed an Android application 1 month back. That was the first time I was developing an Android application because I was actually involved in embedded systems and bug fixes and printer driver design and other stuffs. So I was not confident building an Android application because I was thinking that that's not my cup of tea. But last month, I got an opportunity to explore AI Studio, Google AI Studio's new Android build features, and I was able to build that. All right. So the learning should be learner centric or student centric rather than teacher centric. That actually eases our teaching process too. You should not spend all this time preparing for all those kind of modules and topics and other stuff. Take the learning to a learner centric model. Everything becomes easier. No one will create any problem in the university or the college or the school. No one will create any problem because they actually get an opportunity to do what they like and what they are really interested in. All right. This is one such solution. Another one is you'll have to bring in some kind of competency-based evaluation because the system is actually looking for people with competencies. They're actually ready to reward you. So somebody usually asks me like, what is the package, the campus placement package of Anthropic or OpenAI or any other companies? I always say that these companies don't have a limit. These companies really don't have a limit for their entry level package. Recently, recently Microsoft, no, Meta recently hired an engineer because initially they told that they will offer him $150 million, but he was not willing to that. Then Zuckerberg himself came to interview him and took him for $250 million. So, and that too, he's an youngster. He's of age 30. So the age doesn't matter. Your competency matters. Right. So we need to actually be ready to test the students' competence, not marks. Right. So once you build such a system, once you think about such a system, because KTU has got that flexibility, Kerala Technology University has got that flexibility, and AI has made it possible. Right now, whatever evaluations they are doing for NEET and those kind of issues they are in, this will not happen. This will not happen if competencies assessed. Because whenever I am doing something, I'm getting assessed. Nobody knows I'm getting assessed, right? Because these systems, these artificial intelligence systems, can do the assessments by the some submissions that you make, the GitHub profile you build, the kind of LinkedIn post you make. It can actually assess everything and come up with a result, whether he fits my company. Google and Meta are actually poaching people like that. They are not actually publishing it in a newspaper and call a lot of applications and do a lot of round of interviews. That is not happening. Majority of the companies has handed over these kind of things to AI. The AI itself is doing those kind of assessments by the ways that we do in we submit in different forums, right? If you are submitting something in GitHub profile, there is an AI which is actually scanning those GitHub profiles and understanding whether he or she fits my organization. This can be done. When can it be done? It can be done when you are in school. It can be done when you are in the first year of your college. Can easily be done. There is no need for you to go and get a certificate in Java programming or Python programming. You have the ample systems. You have got the ample computing power. Previously, when you had some supercomputers, you were able to do something. Right now, that is not the case. You have every system in place. Every system is there in place in our ecosystem. But the only thing is that we'll have to allow our new generation to use that. And we'll have to teach them to use in a constructive way. This was never taught. So we should not actually ban ChatGPT. We should not actually ban the social media. We should not actually ban these systems. What we need to do is like we'll have to make it constructive for them. We'll have to allow them to think in a constructive way using all these kind of technologies. So recently I read an article wherein somebody was telling that some company, they used to actually allow the candidates to play some games for hours. And out of the scores that they make out of these games and the kind of solutions they find in these games, they actually recruit people based on. So those kind of recruiting mechanism is already there. Automated recruiting mechanism is already there. So some kind of profile building should happen. Some kind of evaluations wherein competencies can be assessed, can be done, should be done. Because we do at Hatch Future School, because we assess around 33 skills from each and every data point we get. We get the reflections from facilitators. We get the feedbacks from the activities they submitted, the kind of behavior they do in different activities. All these data points can be collected, collated, and given to an AI system, wherein AI itself can create the best report about that particular person, what kind of improvements he or she needs. So those kind of personalized treatment can be given. Another part is we'll have to integrate real world industry projects. So as we discussed, if you want to get experience, 4-year experience while completing your engineering, it is simply possible. You start from the project. You start with a project from year one. You upload it in a GitHub. You involve in all the communities you are there in. Just discuss about this project. Improve the project or be part of some other common crowd-funded projects or crowd programming projects. So those kind of opportunities are really there in the world that we are in. So we need to actually work around such solutions wherein we can actually build something out of this. Okay. And we have 5 more minutes. Maybe after 5 more minutes, we'll go to the Q&A session. And these are the kind of skills that we actually need to build in our students, the new generation. It is not some skill to by heart mathematics. It is not some skill to learn the grammar and not speak English. It's the skill to speak English. You'll have to actually create the skills which works in the real world. The real world, the grammar will be corrected by systems. So you just need to speak. Right. So those kind of skills should be there. You should be real problem solvers. Whenever some problems exist, should be someone who can really solve that problem. It's not the steps that you have taken, because the mark should not be based on the steps that you have done. It should be out of the solution that you have built, because the real world, the industry actually demands people who can build solutions. Please think, industry doesn't want someone who can score marks and write each and every step. Industry demands someone who can solve a problem, whether it be using ChatGPT, whether it be using Codex, whether it be using any kind of tools available. They want a solution. They want a faster solution. When the humanity is facing COVID, nobody cared about the 5-year or 10-year trials, medical trials. They just wanted to bring in the medicine to tackle that particular situation. All right. There can be some consequences. There may be some consequences, but considering the number of lives saved using the vaccine that was generated, the death toll was minimal, right? Comparing to the lives that goes saved. So we'll have to think about someone. You will have to think about creating students who pass out with problem-solving skill, entrepreneurial skills, and innovative skills. We'll have to build human skills. So I always say that when somebody passes with full A plus in class 10 and class 12, that is not a mandatory guideline to get an admission to a science stream, because humanities is going to be the stream of the future. Because human values, when technology is getting developed, when robots are going to rule the world, or when humanoids are going to get introduced to each and every areas where we are right now, we need humanity to survive. Right. So we need people with human values, people with real human skills like empathy, caring, building relationships. So those kind of things are really required. So we'll have to build people with real human skills, because the industry also will demand that. Because industry will get automated with AI agents or robots or humanoids or something of those stuffs. But they will really want people with human touch, people with human-centered thinking. So those kind of skills will get demand in the future. So that is another way to bridge the industry academia gap. And we'll have to build portfolios. This is key. So some people always send some resume and ask if there is a job vacancy. We don't care. We don't care if you are someone who submit a portfolio, because even with a portfolio, even without class 10, class 12 and degree certificates, you can get admissions to MIT, because we have already seen that, because that happens with students in Kerala too. There was a person in Mepadi in Wayanad, one of the remote villages in Kerala. He got an opportunity even before passing class 8. He got an opportunity to get into cancer research, doing AI, artificial intelligence part, that particular cancer research with MIT. So those kind of things are happening and used to happen. So we need to actually encourage our students to build portfolios, not just resumes with names and the kind of school or college projects they have done. Let them start from year one. Let them start, let them try, let them fail. Let them try again, let them fail again. Again, after all these failures, they will learn how to build a system, maybe in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. So once they come out, they have a greater portfolio which can create demand in the industry. Even the industry will come to those persons, those people, and will beg them to take the job, take an opportunity with their company, because those kind of things are happening, and industry is in huge demand of people with those kind of talents. And it's all about lifelong learning. Learning never ends with a degree. Learning never ends with a PhD. Learning, you are going to be a lifelong learner, because each and every day changes are happening. You should acquire new skills, not by getting a certificate. Because the funny part is that if you discuss with anyone in Kerala or India about a course, the first thing they will ask is a certificate. Believe me, that certificate is not going to work. Because certificate you can even generate with ChatGPT, right? Because you can even generate a certificate with ChatGPT. So it's not the case of certificate. It's about what you actually know. It's about what profile you have, what is your portfolio, what you are trying to tell the world, what kind of problems that you are solving in the real world. So the entire industry is actually looking for such people So those kind of mindsets should be built. Those kind of opportunities should be created in our universities. Those kind of things, real problem solution should happen in the academia field, because that's what happened in Silicon Valley. In Silicon Valley, actually the solutions built by MIT, the solutions built by Stanford and Harvard are getting productized in Silicon Valley companies. It's not the other way. Here, what we are doing, we are actually giving them some certificates and sending them to big jobs. So this should not happen. It should be the other way. The industry should actually look into the colleges. The industry should actually look into the universities and schools for some kind of talents or some kind of solutions where they can productize and make human lives better. So this kind of thought process is really required in the academia side to make the changes happen. And as I started with, the solution is simple, but you'll have to think in a different way and think in a simple way. Learn to make everything simple. Just break it down. He always says, right, if it is a complex problem, don't try to solve that entire problem. Try to break it down to small and small problems. Solve it at a unit level. Then just scale it up. All right. So this is the way we need to solve the problems. So if there is a problem in industry and academia wherein there's a huge gap, let me tell you, the solution is simple. So whatever we discussed all through this 1 hour time, it's very easy. It's very easy to implement because we have implemented it. But we'll have to think out of the box. We'll have to think different from what others do. There is no pointing in doing the same thing that is done by all those people. That is a red ocean. We should find the blue ocean. We should find the blue ocean wherein we are the leader. We are the one who decides. We are the one who says. We are the one who rules. All right. So such a system is required. So in order to bridge this industry academia gap, you will have to think in a different perspective. Whether it be Bhubadi Engineering College doing something, it should be different from all the other engineering college just that are doing the same. If you are a student from another college, you should create another ecosystem, which is very different from the ecosystem that these people build. So that creates a greater world because we have a potential. India has a potential of 140 crore people, right? Out of which around 50% are youngsters who are going to be the next workforce. So this solution is simple. This solution is possible. So thank you very much for listening to me all this time. And the floor is now open for questions. If you have any, you can just share it or you can ask in the chat box. Okay. So there is a question. How can faculty members contribute to reducing industrial gap? Great. That's a great question because that is a solution that we always want, right? So as we discussed during our session, you should think beyond teaching. You should think beyond teaching. So that's what we always say to the facilitators at Hash Future School, stop teaching. So just think about a different ecosystem wherein we also will co-learn. We also will co-create because if you take the case of IIMs, if you take the case of Stanford and Harvard, the professors over there are actually startup co-founders. Startup co-founders along with the students. So we also need to elevate. We also should come out of the thought process that we have already got a degree, we have already got a PG, we have already got a PhD, and we need not learn anything new. Should actually break that custom thought process, that conventional thought process. You'll have to create something new. You should be someone who really apply your PhD. The problem with our PhD, the PhD in a foreign country is you can understand the difference because there in a PhD is actually product. PhD is actually solution. Here PhD is for a degree. Here PhD is for the certificate. So you'll have to come out of that thought process. Try to create a team because as I told you, the new generation has already got the potential. to create all these kind of systems. The only thing is that we don't allow them. We don't allow them to create such things. We don't give them space. We don't give them space to think. We always say that they are problematic. That is the same dialogue that is given by all the old generations, because we are also becoming part of an old generation who says the same. That should not happen. We should believe in the potential of the new generation. We should believe that they can change the world, and the technology is here to help them out. And here you need to build a team. So if you are in a college, just ask your students, let's build something. Okay, and believe me, they will clear all the exams. Don't worry about the exams and the assignments and the projects part. They will do all these stuffs, provided we are with them, provided we actually create an ecosystem where they also can contribute, because it's their need. If you are creating such an ecosystem, it's their need to ensure that the system sustains, the system stays, the system develops. So that is very crucial. All right, hope I answered your question. So it's very easy. So change the mindset. Change from teaching to co-creation and co-learning and co-creation and co-founding or something like that. So that will build a solution. Any other questions? Okay, so people from academia can always reach to people from industry, because people from industry really are interested to connect with academia. The only thing is that when we connect with academia, they always say that we are busy. Okay, so that shouldn't happen. Everyone should find some buffer time. Okay, so what skills do industries expect from fresh graduates? Okay, so that's another great question. The industry doesn't demand marks. The industry doesn't demand what to say, your by hearting skills. The industry, pardon? Can you please mute your, okay, fine. Okay, so the industry looks for some people who are the real problem solvers. So industry, whenever you go to an industry, don't just go with your resume. Go with a portfolio. You can create the portfolio maybe in 2 or 3 months. Because recently some 2 or 3 students actually got into internship with Hash Future School. 1 month internship. Within that 1 month internship, we helped them to create a GitHub profile wherein they uploaded 4 or 5 projects. They created the projects. We didn't support or we didn't create any package for them, but we told them an easy ways to create such a systems. Creating portfolios works. So you should go with a portfolio, and you should be a good communicator. Rather than just being an expert in technology, be a good communicator. Be a good leader. Be someone who can network, someone who questions, because industry really like people who question the system, because only through that way the system will change, because we want changes. Because at Hash Future School, we don't believe that we have built something which is the end solution. We believe that somebody comes and questions the system, we can build something new, we can add some new features, right? So we want someone who already has a portfolio, who already has a 4-year experience when they come out of an engineering college, who already is able to learn, who is willing to learn, who is willing to partner and network with people, who is willing to lead. It is not the case of someone who has got experience. Because recently, one company hired a Malayali. Okay, so I forgot the company name. He just have got around only 3.5 years experience in that company. Just 3.5 years experience. There are people who has got 10 years, 15 years, 20 years experience. There are Englishmen. So this is a US-based company, US-based or UK-based company. He's from Calicut. If you search for his profile, you will get that. I just forgot the company name. But those kind of skills actually works. Right. So if you are someone, be someone who always posts in forums, support people, engage in some kind of events. So that is a portfolio. If you are actually engaging in some kind of hackathons, Olympiads or some such kind of events, you build a portfolio easily. So such portfolios are really demanded from the industry. And fresh graduates means somebody who is with a 4-year experience. So that sounds crazy, but that's possible. Okay, if there are any more questions, we'll take it up, or else we'll wind up. Okay, ma'am, shall we wind up?
Thank you, sir, for the enlightening and thought-provoking session. Your insight into bridging the gap between academia and industry have been truly valuable and inspiring. We sincerely appreciate your time and expertise. We also extend our sincere thanks to all the participants for your active participation and meaningful interaction throughout the today's session. With this, we conclude day 2 of the Faculty Development Program on Intelligent Computing Technologies. We look forward to welcoming you all for day 3 of the FDP. Thank you once again. Have a pleasant evening.